Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about the question, is the medical billing and coding field becoming overly saturated? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. So this question was posed to me by a viewer, and she wrote this really good comment. So I'm going to read the comment and then I'm going to discuss. And thank you so much to the viewer who sent this comment in. All right, so she says, "Hi Blue. I see people in the medical coding read it sub say that they think this field is saturated. Do you think that that is true? Seems like in real life, most people don't even have a clue on what a medical coder is, so it seems hard to believe as of now. I'm in school right now. What are your thoughts?" So here's the thing. Just because people say doesn't make it true. So the thing is, first thing is first, you got to look at the source. Who is saying this? Is it people that are in the medical coding classes because they see a lot of people in there and they think, well, there's so many people in this class and all these people are going to be taking their exams. This field is going to get overly saturated. Here's the thing. When it comes to do people know first, I will say this. Do people even know what medical coding is? A lot of times they don't. A lot of times I will say, they'll ask me what is my profession and I'll say I'm a medical coder. And unless that person is in the medical field themselves, they'll say, what's that? Even I didn't know what a medical coder was when I got into this. So you can't really take the word of a lot of people, much less in a thread, because it's just a lot of talk. You know, these are people that you don't know what their motivation is. You don't know what their background is. And a lot of times people sometimes just say things just to see if they can get a rise out of people. And the thing is, there are a lot of people that are studying medical billing and coding. There are a lot of people that are going to take their certification, and there's a good amount that's going to pass. There's a good amount that's going to fail. So the thing about it is, you can't really base the fact that they think that the field is going to be overly saturated because of the number of people that they see in these programs. That's not even true, because let's get past the program, right? Let's get past the certification, and then let's get out into the real world when they're starting to apply for jobs. Of a group of people that is applying for jobs, these things are going to happen. There's going to be people that can't pass a background check. There's going to be people that cannot pass a drug screen. There's going to be people that can't pass the assessment test. So all of these people get knocked out of the running for a medical coding job. Now, you still have this very persistent group of people that's trying to get the job, right? And so let's just say that you have this very persistent group of people that's trying to get this job, and they do really well on their assessment tests. And they are able to pass a background check. They're able to pass a drug screen. They get in the door and then they decide, whoa, what the heck did I get myself into? Now, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to have a really good support system where they're working and people are going to take them in and they're going to help them and they're going to give them a hand up. And they themselves are going to be very active in trying to learn more so they can become high caliber medical coders, and they're going to love it. Then you're going to get the other ones that are not going to have a very supportive team. They are not going to be in a very supportive environment. They're going to get very frustrated, and then they're going to give up. You have those people, and those people are not going to last because it's going to be something that they didn't expect. And if they need more hands-on or more, I don't want to say hand-holding, but it is sort of hand-holding. And if they don't get it because maybe the people that they're working around are not as supportive, and you will find that, then, you know, it just depends if that person's going to be willing to seek out another job. But so many times I've heard from people who go through something like that they just give it up. Nobody was there to teach me. I didn't learn anything. They expected me to know everything, and I don't know everything. So I just gave up. And unfortunately, that is the case with some people. So of all of these people that were in this class for medical billing and coding, a very small number of them are going to proceed on into the field. So yeah, it's very competitive. Yes, it is very competitive to get in. And you really have to be stubborn and you really have to be very persistent when it comes to getting into medical billing and coding. But don't let the fact that there's a lot of people in these classes scare you off. And a lot of times there will be a lot of talk because people want to, there's going to be people that want to sort of dwindle down the group, and they don't want to have to compete with so many people. So they'll just say these things to try to discourage others from pursuing their dreams. And there's always going to be people like that that will try to discourage you from doing the things that you want to do, and from really getting out there and really discovering this field. There's going to be people that are going to be mean. And I'm not trying to make this all about, oh, she's being negative. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm being very real. This is the stuff that happens. But I want you guys to be aware of this. They're going to tell you that, oh yeah, artificial intelligence is going to take over and you guys are not going to have a job. Wrong. They've been saying that for over 10 years. They've been saying that since before I got in the field. Oh, it'll be overseas workers that will take your jobs and you won't have any because they can do it for a cheaper rate. Well, yes, they can do it for a cheaper rate, but we have something that they don't, the English language. And a lot of times, if English is not your first language, medical documentation is already difficult enough to understand for somebody who actually speaks English, let alone somebody who does not speak English. So if that person whose English is their second language, if they're not really sharp with it, if they're not really very well spoken with it, it's going to be a very difficult uphill climb because there's a lot of words that mean similar things, or they can have one word, it can have two different meanings. So there's always those kinds of situations. So again, and then when you factor in sometimes with overseas workers, there's a higher chance. I'm not saying always, I'm just saying that there is a higher chance of inaccurate coding because it's a person who's not, whose English is not their first language and they're reading a very complex document. There's a chance that it could be wrong. The coding could be wrong. So the coding always ends up coming back. And so that is something that is really not a worry, because it's like ebb and flow, right? Sometimes people will, companies will send their work overseas and then they will bring it right back because of the amount of redo sometimes that they have to do. And it just depends. This is not for every single time that they send it overseas, but the vast majority of it I have seen where it does come back. So it just depends. It depends on where the person is and how good their English is and things like that, and how detailed they are. That is a big, huge part of it. So don't let other people's saying these things, oh, there's so many coders, it's going to be overly saturated. There are people that it is their business to sell the field of medical billing and coding to adults trying to get into a new career. That is their job, is to sell the field. So some of these people are very good at it. They can actually convince people that you can learn medical billing and coding in 16 weeks, which is an extremely short time. I would never, ever recommend something that short. If you are really wanting to take medical billing and coding very seriously, you need to be in a program that is at least 9, 12, or 18 months minimum, because that's going to give you enough time to really fully understand everything. And again, don't believe these people that just because they say, or if it's other students, they're saying, well, I can't get a job and so it's just too difficult and I've already tried. And well, you don't know what their resume looks like. You don't know how they're presenting themselves in an interview. You don't know what their cover letter looks like. So there's all these things that you have to factor in that you may do differently from somebody else. So there's all of those things that you have to consider and think about. And when it comes to listening to other people, especially when you're in school, you need to focus. Don't listen to what other people say. Focus on the things that you have to learn, which is a lot. it is medical terminology, anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, and then you got HIPAA, and then you got CMS, and then you have the diagnosis rules and the procedure rules. And then you got to start learning how to look stuff up. And then you got to start learning how to read a record and the documentation and what does it look like and how do we sequence and how do we do this and how do we do that. There's plenty for you to do other than to be distracted by what other people are saying. When it comes to being in school and yeah, you're trying to look for support. This is why I always tell you guys, when you're looking for support, really look for people that are like you, that are very similar to you. Try not to get in those Facebook medical coding groups because it's just a lot of negativity. From what I have seen, I have yet to see one that is positive. I have only heard and only seen people be run off from the field of medical billing and coding by being in those groups. So to me, it's just like, you're not helping if you're doing that. And that's why it's just like, to me, it's when you're in these programs, go to the programs. If you're going to go anywhere, if you're going to interact with anybody, let it be at the association meetings. Sometimes they have the monthly coder meetings. And I know right now with COVID, we're all doing this stuff online. And AHIMA has theirs, AAPC has theirs. And just go with the association meetings. And if you're going to learn anything or if you're going to ask any questions, ask it to somebody that is an actual coder and not somebody that is a student also like you studying. Because what do they know? Have they been in the field yet? And if they say, well, you know, I was a x-ray tech and I was a pharmacy tech and I did this and I did that, doesn't mean that you know anything about medical coding or medical billing for that matter. Just means that you have experience in the medical arena, but not with health information management. See, health information management, there's so much to it. There's a lot that goes into it. And each one of us as medical coders is unique. There are those of us that are very, very detailed. And there are those of us that, well, there's people that just collect a check and go home. You know, when I talk on my channel, I always hope that you guys are striving to be high caliber medical coders like me, because I think it's important. At the end of the day, when you're looking at this medical documentation, and it's not just about you, it's not just about the provider, it's about the patient too. And if you're being very detailed and looking at everything that's there and you're coding carefully, you're taking care of that patient too. Not hands-on, but you're taking care of them in a different way. You're making sure that the appropriate diagnoses are being selected. You're making sure that the appropriate procedures are being selected. And those procedures translate to money. And when you're translating money, what coders select can affect the patient. So if you are coding inaccurately, you could either be making that patient pay too much or pay too little. Not only that, you're affecting the providers now, the provider's money, because what happens when there's an audit and something is incorrect? So those are the things that you have to think about. That's what medical coding is. That is what we do. We wear a lot of hats and we are responsible for a lot. We're responsible for the financial well-being and wellness of whole facilities, because if the coding is not correct, that facility is going to lose money. And when the facility loses money, they can't pay for their employees. They can't pay for new equipment. They can't pay for a lot of these things. And yeah, a lot of this was probably like, well, this was just about, the people in the group. But there's a lot of things that go into this. And again, if you're doing your research, you'll know that, okay, there may be a lot of people, but doesn't mean that everybody that is in there is going to get into the field and stay in the field. There may be other things. That would be like saying there's too many doctors, which I don't think there could ever be too many doctors, right? How could any specialty be overly saturated? And that's just the doctors. And think about it with medical coding. They say, well, there's artificial intelligence that's coming. They would literally have to develop a program that could read the provider's mind every single day. Because I don't know of one provider who says every single diagnosis the same exact way. And not only that, they're going to use their colloquialisms. They're going to, say it one way one day and then say it a different way another day, but meaning the same thing. So, yeah, again, it's going to take, it would literally have to be in their head, reading their mind to know what they're saying. And software has not advanced like that, so that we would have to think about, no, you still need the human element when it comes to looking at these records. And we are going to be this way for quite some time. So don't worry about that either. So my advice is, if you are in a class right now, or if you're out looking and you're thinking, well, maybe there's too many. No, there's not. Concentrate on what you need to concentrate on, which is learning. There's enough to do with that. Stay focused on learning. And if you are trying to get motivated, find other people that are like you, with the same goals and the same thing in mind. And you always want to find somebody who's just a little bit more than you, because that's going to drive you further. And that's always what you want. You always want to find somebody that's smarter than you, or that's got a little bit more drive to kind of get you going a little bit more. That's what I always look for. Whenever I'm trying to get motivated with something, I always want somebody who's got a little bit more drive than me, so that I can be like, okay, I gotta put a little bit more effort in, because that's what it's gonna take. And when it comes to learning this, you got to give it all you got. So that is my message for today. Today's message is a little short because I have been running around all day today. It is the end of the year, and I am taking care of a lot of things. I specifically took today off to do errands. And it was a very long day. I just got in, so that's why I'm here with you guys. But I wanted to get this message out, and just wanted to make sure that we got our show in time. So I will see y'all in a few minutes at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hopefully this thing will load very quickly, and I will see y'all then. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment below, let me know if you are in a program. All right, like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye.